guys, how are you? Hope you are doing very well. And I would like to say sorry for the webinars. Last two webinars that have been cancelled, and actually they were cancelled due to unavailability of speakers. So I am sorry for that. So now we will start the webinar. Okay, so uh, those of you who are new here, pay attention, please. So this webinar has three parts. In the first part, we will conduct the webinar, and topic of the webinar is significance of intonation in the contemporary world, a critical study. Okay. So in the second part, we will have a question and answer session where you will ask the questions from the speaker regarding the topic. In the last part, I will share the feedback form link that you have to fill so that you can get the certificate. Okay. So now, without further ado, I would like to welcome our today's speaker. Can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm audible.
Okay, sir. Sir, please introduce yourself to the audience and then we will start the webinar.
Okay. Hello, friends. A very good afternoon to all of you. This is Dr. Bipin Bihari Dash from India. At the outset, I welcome to all of you from my core of my heart to the World Literature webinar. I am really grateful to the organizing committee for giving me an opportunity to present my topic, the significance of intonation in the contemporary world, a critical study. It's my great pleasure to give a brief introduction about myself in front of the learned, distinguished personalities and resource persons. I'm really feeling proud for this platform. So let me tell the details biodata about me. Currently, I work at Odisha University of Technology and Research, India. I teach English literature, communicative English, business communication skills, and professional English. I received an MA, MPhil, and PhD degree in English from different universities of Odisha, India. In addition to this, I did MA in Linguistics from Odisha. I am the academic counselor of Indira Gandhi National Open University, that is IGNOU, New Delhi, the capital of India, for the program of MA in English. I have contributed 40 research papers on English literature and language for different international and national journals. I have presented many research papers in seminars and conferences. I am the author of 4 books. I have contributed 7 chapters for edited books. I am the reviewer of 9 international journals. The areas of interest are Indian English literature, Postcolonial Studies, Phonetics, E.L.T, Professional English. So that's all about me. So hope all of you will listen patiently and share your knowledge with me at the end of my presentation. Let's come to our discussion. So, so look at the title. The title is given The Significance of Intonation in the Contemporary World, a Critical Study. So we have to discuss about the significance, the importance of intonation, means why the intonation is important in this present world and what is the significance of it. So now the objectives of the webinar. The objectives of the webinar are: first one, define intonation; second one, introduction; then key terms, voice, frequency of vibration, pitch, tone; then significance of intonation, segmental and supra-segmental features, prosody and its influence, why intonation is essential in contemporary English, then tone group, tonic syllable, nuclear tone, functions of intonation, grammatical function, attitudinal function, and accentual function. Then types of tones: falling tone, rising tone, falling rising, fall rise, rising falling, or rise fall tones. So before we go to the details, let us see the term intonation, how the term intonation is defined by the different linguists and different phoneticians. So let me tell you first, David Crystal, the British linguist, he defines intonation. It is not a single system of contours and levels, but the product of the interaction of features from different prosodic systems: tone, pitch range, loudness, rhythmicality, and tempo in particular. Similarly, the British phonetician J.C. Wells, he defines intonation is the melody of speech. So another British linguist, Halliday, he categorizes three primary systems of intonation. According to him, there are three primary systems of intonation. First one is tonality, is the division of continuous speech signals into meaningful chunks known as tone units. Second one is tonicity. Tonicity is the division of a tone unit into new and optional given elements through the placement of the tonic syllable. Third one, tone is the major pitch movement within the tone unit. The tonic syllable is the locus or the point of departure for the tone movement, which may be falling, rising, or a compound of falling and rising movement. So these are the three important persons, important linguists as well as phonetician. They have defined the intonation in different manners. Then Halliday's three T's of intonation. Halliday divides intonation into three T's. All the words start with the letter T: tonality, tonicity, tone. That is why three T's. So tonality, that means the chunking of speech into intonational phrases or tone units. Second T, tonicity, nucleus, placement, and tone, mainly but not only fall, rise, and fall, rise. Tonality marks the beginning and the end of a tone group. Then T, tone is the third unit in Halliday's system. Tone can be primary and secondary. They convey the attitude of the speaker. Halliday's theory is based on the syntactical function of intonation. The study of the form and function of intonation in English is quite essential. Under the form of intonation, we shall study the details of the nature of pitch variations. The nature of pitch variations will be studied under tone group, tonic syllable, and nuclear tone. Later on, we will discuss all these points very carefully. So now you come to the introduction. In linguistics, intonation is variation in pitch used to indicate the speaker's attitudes and emotions, to highlight or focus an expression, to signal the illocutionary act performed by a sentence, or to regulate the flow of discourse. The question, so let me raise a question for you. The question is, does John speak Spanish or French? So this sentence, how this sentence could be spoken? This sentence is spoken, is interpreted as a yes no question, whether it is uttered with a single rising intonation contour, but it is interpreted as an alternate question when uttered with a rising contour on Spanish and a falling contour on French. So if you only give the stress, if you give emphasis as it is a question, is it a yes no question, then you can say that you go through it is a rising. But when you say that it is alternate one, you give on rise, then the fall. Although intonation is primarily a matter of pitch variation, it affects almost always work hand in hand with other prosodic features. So, let me explain you the details about this. There is no language in the world is spoken on a monotone. When there is not a single language, either Spanish, Japan, French, Hindi, English, any language, it is not spoken in a monotone. In normal speech, the pitch of her voice goes on changing constantly. Constantly, the pitch changes. Sometimes now going up, now going down, and sometimes remaining level or steady. Different pitches of the voice combine to form patterns of speech variations or tones, which together constitute the intonation of a language. So, the intonation of a language thus refers to the patterns of pitch variations or the tones it is it uses in its utterances. So, when we speak to each other, our voices tend to rise or fall in pitch over a part of an utterance. This rise or fall in pitch is known as intonation. So, this is the brief definition that you say what is an intonation. So, this rise or fall of pitch is known as intonation. When it is rises, when it is falls, it may rise or it may fall. This rise or fall of the pitch is known as the intonation. So, falling intonation is shown by a sloping arrow which comes down from left to right, while rising intonation is shown by an arrow. So, okay, falling intonation is shown by a sloping arrow which comes down from left to right, while rising intonation is shown by an arrow which rises from left to right. So, one is right to left, another is left to right. So, if he is left to right, so that is falling. But fall to rise, that is rising. That is the symbol. So, later on we say the arrow is just placed before the last stress syllable. So, intonation plays an important in communication. Intonation is used mainly to indicate the speaker's attitude toward the listener or toward the topic on which he or she is speaking. That is the purpose of the intonation. In linguistics, intonation is variation of spoken speech that is not used to distinguish words. Instead, it is used for a range of functions, such as indicating the attitudes and emotions of the speakers, signaling the differences between the statements and the questions. So, now you come to what are the key terms for this intonation. The key terms are voice, frequency of vibration, pitch, tone, timbre, tempo. So, these are the important key terms. So, intonation plays a vital role in the spoken and conversational English. It gives an eminent space to the contemporary English. In the present world, it is more important. This is quite essential for us. So, how this can be realized? So, it is observed that when the vocal cords or vocal cords are kept loosely together, they vibrate, and that the vibration of the vocal cords produces a musical note called the voice. And during normal speech, in the case of an adult male, the vocal cords vibrate between 80 to 120 times a second and between 150 to 200 times a second in the case of an adult female. That is why the adult female's voice is audible to the more distance than the male voice. Then the rate at which the vocal cords vibrate is called the frequency of vibration, and this determines the pitch of the voice. Though more rapidly the vocal cords vibrate, the higher will be the pitch, and vice versa. The patterns of variation of the pitch of the voice constitute the intonation of a language. The pitch at which stressed syllables are uttered in a neutral speech can be high, low, or it can change from high to low or low to high. Any change in the pitch of accented syllables in spoken sentences is known as intonation or tone. I've already told you that the falling and rising of the pitch is known as the intonation. Intonation indicates the sentence, what type of sentence it is. It may be a statement, it may be a question. It also indicates the attitude of the speaker. Later on, we'll discuss with examples. So now you come to intonation patterns and symbols. The main intonation patterns in English are the falling tone, the rising tone, the falling rising tone, and rise fall tone. So look at what is rising intonation. Rising intonation means the pitch of the voice rises over time. So the symbol is given one arrow mark, upward arrow mark. That means the voice rises upward. Falling intonation means that the pitch falls with time. That means it falls. The arrow mark is given, slant downward it is given. What is fall rise? Fall rise intonation means first fall, then rise. That means if you look at the symbol, the one arrow mark is given fall symbol, second arrow mark is given rise symbol. So what is rise fall or rising fall intonation? First rise and then fall. Then what is the significance of intonation in contemporary world? In the present world, what is the role of this intonation? Why the intonation is much more important? Why it is a very vital one? Intonation is how we change and vary our pitch to communicate meaning. So, for example, when you become angry, you raise your eyebrows and your tone is very high. But when you are very much polite, what happens? You bow down your head and tone is very low. So, when you listen to people speaking, we use clues from their intonation to understand and interpret what we hear. Intonation works together with other elements of speech such as pace, volume, buzzing, stress, and emphasis to help us express the term intonation, to express the deeper meaning behind our words. You may hear people use the term intonation to describe all these elements of prosody. So that means that if there is no intonation, there is no rhythm of the language. If there is no rhythm of the language, you cannot get the adequate meaning of the language. So we, as the human beings, express the language with different feelings and emotions. We require to use different types of intonation, either fall or rise. In everyday conversations, you may also hear people refer to intonation as tone of voice or simply tone. If you just make one mistake with intonation, the whole meaning of our sentence could change. Remember. So if you spell something, suppose you did a spelling error, the reader can make it correct through the sentence. When he read the sentence, he can revise it. But in a pronunciation, in a sentence, if you make a wrong intonation, the meaning of the sentence changes. So obviously, it leads to confusion, bafflement, and puzzle. So sometimes one sentence can hold two, three, and maybe even more meanings with just a mere intonation change. If this intonation brings such type of problems, then we say that the intonation has a significant role in today's world. When you come to the segmental and supra-segmental pitches, you have already known that. So what is segmental and what is supra-segmental? You know that in English language, there are 44 sounds, 20 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sounds. All of you know. Out of these 20 vowel sounds, 12 are monophthongs or pure vowels and 8 are diphthongs. You know, they are the single sounds. They are called the segments consist of vowels and consonants. They are segmental pitches. But when you lead to more higher order, that means you say that you find that then you combine some sounds, either vowel or you add some of the sounds, then you get a syllable, then you get a word, then you get the stress pattern, then you get the sentence or intonation. So these are the supra-segmental features of the speech. So while supra-segmental features are speech attributes that accompany consonants and vowels, but which are not limited to single bounds and often extend over syllables, words and phrases. So pronunciation is an essential and rudimentary facet of language involved in an oral communication. In our spoken communication, this is quite essential. This is to highlight the significance of the pronunciation of segmental and suprasegmental features of English. So I have already told you that segmental means the vowels and consonant cluster like this. But suprasegmental means you say that the stress, intonation, pitch, length, all these things. So speech is a sequence of pronunciation of segmental as well as the suprasegmental pitches. Then why intonation is essential in contemporary English? Why it is quite essential? Number one, this is essential for the speaker's attitude toward the listener. It expresses the attitude of the speaker. If there is no intonation, you cannot express your attitude. Maybe intonation, your attitude may be surprise, anger, or a delight. How can you express yourself? So, if you have got a lottery, how can you express your delight to a friend with a proper intonation? If you faced an accident, how do you express your sorrow to your friend? You have to express through intonation, proper intonation. So, intonation expresses emotions. Through your emotions, your feelings should be expressed through your intonation. So, what are the emotions? Happiness, sadness, annoyance, frustration, anger, disgust, excitement, enthusiasm, and joy. In addition to this, intonation is also essential for emphasis towards the topic. So, in focus on the topic, you have to give emphasis on it. So, these are the major roles of the intonation in the contemporary world. First one is speaker's attitude toward the listener. Second one is intonation expresses emotions. Third one is it emphasizes towards the topic. So then let us learn the details, how it is learned, the details about the intonation. So before you enter into this theoretical, let us learn what is a tone group. So the structure of an utterance can be divided into several tone groups, depending how long it is and how many pauses there are in the utterances. In other words, an utterance may have one tone group, or it may have two tone groups, or it may have three or four tone groups. Tone groups are also called breath groups or sense groups. If, if there is no tone group, you will speak a long sentence the same way you will speak the short sentence. So long sentence and short sentence should be spoken in different manner. So look at the examples that are given. That's a wonderful idea. That's a wonderful idea. After speaking this sentence, we are taking the pause. That means this sentence has one tone group. Means we are taking the breath after, only after reading the whole sentence. That means the sense comes after reading the whole sentence. That means it has one tone group. Look at the second sentence. Hello, what are you doing? Hello, what are you doing? So in this sentence, you find two tone groups. What are the two tone groups? Hello, this is one. What are you doing? This is second. So in this sentence, you find two tone groups. So now you come to the third sentence. In the third sentence, you will find three tone groups. What are they? Rome, the capital of Italy, is a beautiful city. First, you told Rome, then you take the pause. The capital of Italy, then stop, is a beautiful city. So, here in this sentence, you have three tone groups or three breath groups, or you say three sense groups. So, look at the last sentence that I have given. You will have to abide by all the rules of this university, which I may hasten to add, maybe since time to time without any proper notice. If you look at this sentence, I have given four breaks. I have given. So this sentence contains four tone groups or four breath groups or four sense groups. So when you utter a sentence, if you do not take proper, if you do not divide the tone groups, then uh, you cannot give the right meaning to the listener. Then when you come to the tonic syllable, what do you mean by tonic syllable? the most prominent syllable in a tone group on which a pitch movement takes place is called the nucleus or the tonic syllable. This is the place where the pitch changes, either fall or rise. This determines. This place is called the nucleus or the tonic syllable. Having divided an utterance into tone groups, the speaker will have to choose one of the syllables in a tone groups on which to initiate a pitch movement during the speech. That is last stress syllable of the tone group. So look at the sentence. The postman did not come yesterday. In this sentence, you find there are three content words or meaningful words. We say that. What are the three words? One is a postman, second one is come, third one is yesterday. So look at, before these three words, I have given a vertical mark on the top of the word. Before the word postman, before P, there is a vertical mark. This word is a significant. This word is stressed. Second word come, before C, there is a stress mark, and before yesterday, there is a stress mark. But the question is, where do you put, where do the pitch changes, either falling or rising? At the last stress word. That means after, before the yesterday. That is why before yesterday, I've given on falling tone symbol or arrow symbol. You say that falling symbol. So the syllable S is said with a moving or kinetic tone. The other accented syllables postman come in this sentence is said with level or unmoving or static tone. In other words, a tonic syllable is one that carries the kinetic tone in the tone group. So that is the kinetic tone, tonic tone. That is the nucleus of this. So you have to mark it. Here in this place, the tone changes, either fall or rise. Then tonic syllable. If the tonic context does not demand that a particular syllable be made especially prominent, the last prominent syllable in a tone group will be the nucleus. Sometimes the choice of nucleus will depend upon the meaning that the speaker wants to convey. So that the speaker wants to convey. But let us look at a few examples. One example, I want you to take the dog for a walk in the park. Look at this sentence. In this sentence, I have given the stress mark on want, take, dog, walk, park. So as per our rule, the last stressed word, that is the tonic syllable. There you can change the pitch, kinetic. The pitch will change there. That is why it is given a falling tone, because it is a statement. I want you to take the dog for a walk in the park. As it is a statement, there is a falling tone is given at the end. But the question is, if you focus on each word, suppose you focus in this sentence, you focus on walk. So the meaning of the sentence will change. And if the pitch is here, the meaning change. I want you to take the dog for a walk in the park. That means you are taking the dog for walk, not for running, not for run. So that is the meaning. So if you focus on the word dog, I want to take the dog for a walk in the park. If you stress on the word dog, the pitch change at the dog. I want you to take the dog for a walk in the park. So it emphasizes that you have taken the dog, but not the cat, not the horse, no other animal. I want you to take. So if you say that take, so if you change the pitch at the take, that means you have not kept it here. So you have not keep it here. So the meaning varies as per the nucleus or tonic accent. But the general common rule is the pitch is at the tonic syllable at the last. But when you change your meaning as per your requirement, you can change the pitch at any point, any word, any content word. Then number two example. Saswat generally leaves at 7 in the morning. This is a normal statement, usual habit of the Saswat. So that is why the stress word in this and the stress words are Saswat leaves 7 morning. I've already told you that the pitch changes at the last stress syllable. That means before the morning. That is why it is the arrow mark is given there. Falling arrow mark is given there. But if you focus on 7, Saswat generally leaves at 7 in the morning. 7. That means you are focusing on time. When generally he wakes up, leaves at 7, not at 6, not at 8. Similarly, if you stress on the word Saswat, means you mean to say that it is not Swagat, it is Saswat. So, the tonic syllable in each case is the focus of the information which is being conveyed. It is, however, not always the case that a particular syllable in a tone group has to be made especially prominent. So, you can focus on any syllable, any word, but as for that, your meaning changes. Then, nuclear tone. The nuclear tone refers to the kinetic tone carried by the tonic syllable or the nucleus in a tone group. Unlike static or level tones, it is a major change in pitch direction. An accented syllable, stress syllable in a tone group is said on a level pitch. Either it is spoken in high or it is spoken in low. But the most prominent syllable in it is the nucleus, is said with a changing pitch. The nucleus is responsible to change the pitch. And this changing pitch or tone is several different kinds. The most important of which are called fall, rise, fall, rise, and rise, fall. The fall and rise can be subdivided into high fall and low fall and high rise and low rise respectively. But the last four are not normally used in everyday conversation or usual conversation. But the first four are used in day-to-day conversation or formal conversation. Now, functions or role of intonation. So, intonation is not mere melody. It is not just like a pattern of contour, or it is not a pitch, or it is not a rhythm of pitch variation. Superadded to an utterance already complete in all respects and ready to submit its full meaning without this addition. It is complementary to it. It does not play a decorative role but performs a linguistic function. It plays a very vital role in the grammatical, accentual, attitudinal, in every cases. It is part of the English grammar in very much the same way as tense or mood or different types of subordinate clause, which are accustomed to regarding as parts of grammar and conveys distinction of meaning in the same way. So let us learn one by one different function. First one is grammatical function. How intonation plays a vital role in grammar. Intonation identifies different types of sentences. For example, so same sentence can be spoken as falling tone. Same sentence can be spoken as rising tone. So when it is spoken as a falling tone, if it is a statement, if it is spoken as a falling tone, that is a normal rule. All the statements are spoken in falling tone. But when the statements are spoken in a rising tone, it becomes a question. It becomes a question. So look at the examples. He is arriving late. He is arriving late. So late, before that you find a falling tone. So if you study this sentence grammatically, it is a statement. This sentence is a statement. It states some ideas. So it is a statement. So as it is a statement, it is usually or normally spoken in a falling tone. That is grammatical rule. But when you apply the intonation here, he is arriving late. He is arriving late. Mean you use the late in a rising tone, this statement becomes a question. So same sentence. So generally grammarians say both the sentences are correct. But a normal reader thinks that the second sentence is written incorrectly. No, as per the intonation, this is correct. So now look at the next two sentences. So normally, all the commanding sentences are spoken in falling tone. So shut the door, shut the door, open the gate, please come in, march on, do as I say. So all these sentences are spoken in falling tone. They are commanding sentences. All the commanding sentences are spoken in falling tone. So that is why before the door there is a falling arrow mark. But when these commanding sentences are spoken in a rising tone, it becomes request. The sentence becomes request. Shut the door, shut the door, shut the door, door. Here you are using rising intonation. So the same imperative sentence is spoken in rising tone and it becomes a request. So dear participants, please mark the examples. The same sentence can be falling, same sentence can be rising, depend on the intonation. So next one, grammatical second, grammatical functions performed by tone boundaries. That is another important. Grammatical intonation is used in those sentences which, when written, are ambiguous and whose ambiguities can only be removed by using differences of intonation. In the following example, the difference caused by the placement of the tone unit boundaries causes two different interpretations of sentence. If you mark these sentences, then you can easily understand. So there is a boundary you just mark. Those who sold quickly made a profit. So here quickly is bold, and after the quickly there is a bar, and before the those there is a bar, and after profit there is a bar. So the entire sentence is divided into two parts. Those who sold quickly, here the focus is on quickly, made a profit. So this is the tone boundaries. First tone boundary. What is the meaning of the first tone boundary? A profit was made by those who sold quickly. A profit was made by those who sold quickly. The same sentence you just mark, but the tone boundary changed. Those who sold, those who sold quickly made a profit. Those who sold quickly made a profit. Here the focus is on sold, and this is the tone boundary. So obviously the meaning changed, but same sentence consists of same words. As per your tone boundary, the meaning changed. In the second sentence, a profit was quickly made by those who sold. A profit was quickly made by those who sold. Now you come to the question tags. In case of question tags, how the intonation plays a major role. So when you prepare a question tag, generally we are asking to the students to prepare the question tags. You know that. So question tag is added at the end of the sentence. It is a short question. It is attached. As for example, they are coming tomorrow. They are coming tomorrow. This is a statement. What is the question tag? Aren't they? Aren't they? Aren't they? So we are using here falling intonation. Why it is falling intonation? Now falling tone, the speaker is certain that the information is correct and simply expect the listener to provide information. Falling tone, because the speaker is very sure the result will out tomorrow. The result will out tomorrow. Want it? Want it? So the result will out tomorrow. That means the speaker is very shorten, the result will announce. That is why, want it? He speaks this sentence in a falling tone. So look at the same sentence. If the same sentence is spoken in a rising tone, what is the meaning? They are coming tomorrow, aren't they? Aren't they? Aren't they? They are coming tomorrow, aren't they? Rising tone, a lesser degree of certainty, and it functions more like a request for information. Similarly, the result will publish tomorrow. Want it? Want it? You use it in a rising tone. That means you are a lesser degree of certainty. So, intonation plays very vital role in grammatical function. How statement becomes questions, how command becomes request, and how it is used in the case of tone boundaries, and how it is used in the case of question tags. Now it is used in the case of attitudinal function. Intonation is used mainly to indicate the speaker's attitude towards the listener or towards the topic on which he or she is speaking. An intonation pattern not only has a grammatical function but also expresses attitudes like pleasure, anger, like, dislike, love, hate, belief, doubt, jealousy, surprise, and annoyance, sarcasm. So, like this, although intonation is primarily a matter of pitch variation, it is important to be aware that functions attributed to intonation, such as the expression of attitudes and emotions or highlighting aspects of grammatical structure, almost always involve concomitant variation in other prosodic features. Intonation is perhaps the chief means by which the speaker conveys his attitude and emotions. The grammar of an utterance does not reveal any noticeable way whether the speaker's attitude is surprise, request, suggestion, politeness, or gratitude, etc. So, when you write something to someone else, your attitude he may predict, but when you express through your language, your attitude is clearly revealed to the listener. That is why your proper intonation is highly essential to express the attitude of yours. So, this is quite essential for the learners of present era. Then look at the examples of the attitudinal functions. So, look at the first example. The bus is arriving tonight. The bus is arriving tonight. So, here rising tone, it indicates surprise. Get me a glass of water. Get me a glass of water. This is a request. If you make it full, that becomes a command. Get me a glass of water. It is a command. Then, indifferent attitude of the speaker. How the indifferent attitude expressed? Do you know the answer? Do you know the answer? Then, suggestion. Let's take a taxi to the station. This sentence indicates suggestion. Thank you. Thank you. This is genuine gratitude. When thank you is spoken in a falling tone, this is a genuine gratitude. When thank you is spoken in a casual manner, we are using rising intonation. As for example, you someone offers you a gift, you say thank you, your genuine gratitude. As generally, and when you are on the way or in the shopping mall, you offer the thank you. That is only the casual thank you you can give to the bus conductor or in the street on the stranger to the stranger. Thank you in a casual way. So, when can you come? Normal question, neither polite nor impolite. So, this sentence may indicate polite or impolite. If it is a formal situation, it is polite. If it is an informal situation, it is impolite. Then, when can you come? If you say, when can you come? So, rising intonation, it indicates politeness. So, look at this short question. Did you? Did you? Did you? So, first fall, then rise. It indicates so enthusiasm, so your interest. That man is John's father. That man is John's father. So, it indicates sarcasm. So, these are the different examples that indicate the attitude of the speaker. In this in these examples, you get to know different attitude express the intonation. So now, accentual or keywords or stress function. Accentual keywords are stress. The term accentual refers to accent. When it is said that intonation has an accentual function, it implies that the placement of stress is somewhat determined by intonation. The most common position for the placement of tonic syllable is the last lexical word. Nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, demonstrative pronouns, question words means WH words, and not the functional words, pronouns, prepositions, articles, auxiliary verbs, and determinants. So, all the lexical words are content words. and all the function words are structure words. Generally, the content words are always stressed, and the function words or the structure words are always unstressed. For contrastive purpose, however, any word can be the bearer of tonic syllable. For example, so look at these two sentences. She was wearing a red green dress. This is a normal placement because dress is the last stress word. That is why here the pitch changes. That is why it is bold and underlined. She was wearing a red green dress. So this is the focus word. But if this word is not stressed, the before word is stressed, she was not wearing green dress, that means she was wearing a red dress. That means it is opposed to the color. It opposes to the color. So it is a contrastive purpose of placement. This indicates. So these are the grammatical function, attitudinal function, and accentual function of the intonation. Accentual keywords are stress function. Another example. This is used to clear out the ambiguities. For example, so look at the two examples. I have plans to leave. I have plans to leave. This sentence consists of same words and it is also a statement. But the meaning varies as per your intonation. I have plans to leave. Leave. Here, the leave word is bold and underlined. That means I am planning to leave. The first sentence. I have plans to leave means I have some plans to leave. Means I have plans for leaving this place. But first one is I am planning to leave. So for the purpose of emphasis, the tonic stress can be placed in other positions. For example, the movie was boring. So when you give focus on the word boring, it indicates the movie is very dull and uninteresting. But look at the same sentence. The movie was very boring. When you say very, so here the meaning is extremely, exceptionally. Another two examples see, you should not talk so loudly. So here the focus is on the loudly. So the meaning is speak softly is preferred. So look at the same sentence in the second line. You should not talk so loudly. Here the focus is on should not. So the meaning is duty or obligation. Duty or obligation. Right. So these are the accentual functions. Then uses of the tones. As I have already told you that the fall and rise of the pitch is known as intonation or the tone. And this intonation in generally spoken in falling tone, rising tone, fall rising tone, and rise fall tone. So these are the four basic patterns that we are using. So let us see falling tone. Where do you normally use the falling tone? These are the rules. First rule is in ordinary statements made without emotional implications. Any ordinary statements without an emotional implication that is spoken in falling tone. The house is empty. I am a teacher. There is a beautiful sea beach at Puri. So these are the ordinary statements. All ordinary statements are spoken in falling tone. You have to remember that rule. Then in WH questions, which are said in a neutral and sometimes unfriendly way. Neutral and unfriendly way. What is the meaning of this word? Neutral way. Who is there? What are you doing? When are you coming? So these are the neutral or something unfriendly way you say that. In commands, already told that in commands we use falling tone. Shut the door, open the gate, do as I say. All these sentences take care of. So in commanding sentences are spoken in falling tone. In exclamations, exclamatory sentences, the sentences which expresses sudden feelings. How nice of you. Bravo, what a shot. Like this. Wow, what a beautiful sari you wear. So these are the exclamations. In question text, seeking confirmation of an opinion expressed by the speaker. He has just been promoted, hasn't he? Hasn't he? So this is the question tag. So these are the rules for Wellington. More rules in invitation. Come over for a cup of tea. In yes no questions, suggesting a cold or indifferent attitude on the part of the speaker. Do you know the answer? Do you know the answer? It indicates indifferent attitude of the speaker. In dual questions, shall you go by train or by or shall you go by train or by bus? So this is the option. Dual questions, by bus or by train. Dual. In instructions or in demands, help, stop, go, wait, no, yes. So all are the instructions and demands we use falling tone. And in quick questions used when the context is clear. What, where, when, how, who, why not? So these are the quick questions. You use normally quick questions with falling tone. For short questions used as responses to statements. So statements, the teacher is on leave today. E.g., it is not a question tag. Please don't be confused. It is not a question tag. It is just a response. The teacher is on leave today. E.g., if you use it as a question tag, isn't he? But it is not question tag. It is just a response, short response that you are giving. The teacher is on leave today. Is he? They went to England last night. Did they? Did they? In statement that indicate finality, there is nothing more to be said. So now you come to the rising tone. Where do you use rising tone? So rising tone is used normally in the following cases. Number one, in yes no questions. In yes no questions, we use rising tone. Do you mind if I see it? Do you mind if I see it? So here rising tone is given before sit. In a request, listen to me for a minute. Listen to me for a minute. So before minute, there is a rising tone. Command intended to sound like a request. Don't be late. Don't be late. So it is a command, but is transferred to a intended to a request. Don't be late. Statements expressing surprise, disbelief, sarcasm, etc. That man is dead. That man is dead. So it expresses surprise. You don't believe it. That's why you speak it in a rising tone. The more cases, incomplete utterances, very often are the past clause of a sentence. Since I do not know Spanish, since I do not know Spanish, it is incomplete utterance. So as it is incomplete utterance, it is spoken in rising tone. Before Spanish, it is rising tone is given. In questions which demand an answer yes or no, yes or no. Have you seen my dog? Have you seen my dog? So it's a question of demand or answering, expecting answer. Statements intended to be a question. The results are out. The results are out. Clear? So these statements intended to a question. In suggestions, shall you go for a movie? So here, this is a suggestion, the rising tone. More cases. When double-edged questions showing politeness, friendliness, warmth, personal interest. Who is your favorite cricket player in the world? Who is your favorite cricket player in the world? World. So here you are using rising tone. Double-edged questions where the speaker is asking for the repetition of something that was said earlier. Where did you say the last meeting was held? Where did you say the last meeting was held? Held. So there rising tone is used. Double-edged question indicating a feeling of surprise. These are the special cases. How did he dare to tell you? How did he dare to tell you? So these are the special cases of double-edged questions where you use a rising tone. In question text seeking information, normally the view is beautiful, isn't it? The view is beautiful, isn't it? Repetition question which repeats someone else's question or wants him to repeat some information. It will take me 3 days. How long? How long? Terminal tone group said as an afterthought. I will not oppose him if you like. If you like. So non-terminal tone groups, whenever he calls on us, he creates problems. Non-terminal groups. In greetings, hello, hello, hi, goodbye, bye. So these are the greetings words that normally spoken in rising tone. A sense of incompleteness. Having thought carefully over this matter, having thought carefully over this matter, in reference to a later, in reference to a later. So these are the rising tone cases. Then falling rising tone or fall rise tone. In polite request, so could I borrow your bike? Could I borrow your bike? So after the yo, there is a fall, then before bike, that is right. Fall and rise. That is the two symbols are given there. In expressing disbelief on the speaker's part, he says he has seen God. He says he has seen God. So this is a disbelief case in the case of speaker. That is why fall and rise. Statement indicated to be a correction of the information received. He teaches Hindi, English. He teaches Hindi, English. Means that is the correction he did. Insert question to say enthusiasm. Did you, did you, did you? So first fall, then rise. In incomplete utterances, well, fall and rise. Fall and rise. Then rising and falling tone or rise fall. First rise, then fall. Statement showing enthusiastic agreement. Example, of course, of rise, then course, fall. Exclamation expressing sarcasm or irony. Example, oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really? So first rise, then fall. In a complex sentence where there is a subordinate clause before the main clause, a rising tone is used for the subordinate clause and a falling tone for the main clause. So look at the example. After he had eaten, he went to bed. Which one is the main clause? He went to bed. Which one is the subordinate clause? After he had eaten. So all the subordinate clauses are spoken in rising tone. After he had eaten, this is a subordinate clause. It is spoken in rising tone. Main clause, he went to bed. That is the main clause, is spoken in falling tone. Then choices, alternative questions. Does he speak German or French? Does he speak German or Spanish? This is alternate. First German rise, then French fall. List. Intonation falls on the last item to show that the list is finished. I bought a t-shirt, a skirt, and a handbag. So first rise, t-shirt rise, a skirt rise, and a handbag, that is fall. So that is the case of list. So now I discussed a lot of things about the intonation. I discussed about the definition and where it is used and the different functions and different things. Let's come to our conclusion. Intonation refers to a combination of acoustic parameters including duration, intensity, and pitch used to communicate discourse meaning. It is well-known fact that knowing and using the right intonation patterns in day-to-day communicative English is a challenging and one of the most important tasks to non-native speakers and learners of English, especially Oriental speakers of English, because we have stayed in a polyglot civilization. Learning segmental features like consonants, vowel sounds, consonant clusters are comparatively easier than the master of supra segmental features like word stress, intonation, and rhythm. Sorry. To be proficient in the communication, it needs to be practiced regularly and effectively. English is spreading to every nook and the cranny in the world. Moreover, it becomes an international language or global language. Further, it can be considered or called as a language of job opportunities, library language, and link language. It is high time to speak with intelligibility, just not only in segmental features, but also suprasegmental features. English language richness, flexibility, elegance, and dignity made it universally popular. So, from every sphere of life, the role of English has become noticeable. Like our mother tongue, we should constantly take care of intonation of English. Being the teachers of English, we should take care of more, because we are the backbone of our nation. You are the backbone of the society. We are the backbone of the world. So we are teaching to the students of the different professional backgrounds, technical, non-technical. So if you teach them, the way you teach them, the way you practice them, they will utilize it in their classroom as far as in their professional place. So our role is much more vital. The students, the learners, or the professionals, they have a lot of scopes to work in different cultural backgrounds. They may work Oriental culture or Occidental culture. If they know the proper use of the language, proper language speaking skills of the English, then they can give justice to their job. They can adequate themselves in the other culture, other system very easily and comfortably. So, this is the message for the participants as well as the teachers, communities, and we should take care of ourselves, and we should more conscious about using the language very correctly, because this is our second language and we have to take care of more. And those are the first language users of Oriental culture. They might they might not face a lot of problems in comparison to us. So that's all about my presentation. I'm really grateful to all the participants, those who listened to me very carefully and patiently. And I hope all of you have received some of the information from me, and I'm expecting so many messages from you. That's all. Thank you.
So thank you so much for your wonderful presentation, and you can take a 2 minute break, and then we will start the question and answer session. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. So, guys, after the question and answer session, I will share the feedback form link. Please complete the feedback form. Then you will be able to get the certificate. And please write the correct name in the feedback form. And this your name will be published on your certificate. So, after 2 minutes, we will conduct the question and answer session. And if you guys need the slides, you can email us. We will send you the slides of the topic. So guys, now if you have any question regarding this topic, you may ask from the sir. And then I will share the feedback from him. So please, if you have any question regarding this topic, you can ask. Yes, sir, we will share the slides. You can email us, we will send you the slides. Yes, I am going to share the feedback form link after 10 minutes. Sir, I think Idens does not have any question, so I think they have got the everything. So now I'm going to share the feedback form link. I have shared the link in the chat box, so you can select it on feedback form. So guys, now we have come to the end of our webinar. So I would like to thank everyone who made this meeting possible, and I thank you so much, sir, for wonderful presentation. And now we are going to end this session. Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.